there's been so many conversations and comments directly from J.K. Rowling, whether it's her saying she'd never forgive you for your views, or the fact that when she was asked what ruins the movies for her, she named yourself and some of your co-stars. And I imagine that's an extremely difficult thing when you've been a part of someone's world, when you've felt connected to their work, and then for it now to kind of be a full 180, and for someone to publicly say these things that can be quite extremely hurtful, actually. How do you think about that?
I really don't believe that by having had that experience and holding the love and support and views that I have mean that I can't and don't treasure Joe and the person that I had personal experiences with. I think the thing I'm most upset about is that a conversation was never made possible.
You remain open for that dialogue.
Yeah, and I always will. I believe in that. I believe in that completely. Yeah, I just don't want to say anything that like continues to weaponize a really like toxic debate and conversation, which is maybe why I don't, well, it is why I don't comment or like continue to comment, not because I don't care about her or about the issue, but because I just, the way that the conversation is being had feels really painful to me. Her kindness and words of encouragement and that steadfastness, there's just no world in which I could ever cancel her out or cancel that out for anything. And I can love her. I can know she loved me. I can be grateful to her. I can know the things that she said are true.
Our next presenter is Emma Watson. She's proud to call herself a feminist, but we all know she's a witch.
Oh, how witty!
I'm here for all of the witches.
I'm gonna kill you, bitch.
Well, hello, kiddies. It's your friendly neighborhood watchman here with you today to discuss J.K. Rowling finally giving it back to the pretentious and insufferable Emma Watson, who I once enjoyed in her, of course, iconic role as Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter series of films.
You're Harry Potter! I'm Hermione Granger. And you are?
Ron Weasley.
Pleasure.
Unfortunately, as most kids do growing up in Hollywood or the film industry in general, they grow up to become full-blown leftards. So Rowling, and yes, that's how you pronounce Joanne Rowling's name. This is a now infamous moment in the BAFTA Awards, the British Academy of Films and Television Arts, where Emma Watson takes a dig at the author, J.K. Rowling. Now, some say she mouthed, at the end, you see her mouth something in silence. Some say she mouthed, bar none. I'm here for all the witches, bar none. Or I'm here for all the witches, by the way. Or maybe I'm here for all the witches except one. Either way, whatever the case may be, it was a dig at J.K. Rowling, and which the author did not take kindly to. So, kiddies, without further ado, let's start this shit. Without further ado, let's do this shit! This from the New York Post with the byline, Emily Crane, with the heading, J.K. Rowling trashes ignorant Emma Watson after Harry Potter actress broke silence on a years-long rift. J.K. Rowling has finally fired back at Emma Watson for attacking her over the opposing trans views. Yeah, over the years, I might add. This ain't anything new. The Harry Potter creator slammed the 35-year-old actress. Damn, she's 35 already. God. Don't you feel old? Time and tide, man. Wait for no man. It is so damn true. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent over here.
Stay on target.
Don't tell me what to do. The Harry Potter creator slammed the 35-year-old actress who played Hermione Granger in the franchise after Watson suggested last week she wanted to make amends years after ridiculing Rowling's anti-transgender remarks. I'm seeing quite a bit of comments about this, so I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. The idea is as ludicrous as me checking with the boss I had when I was 21 for what opinions I should hold these days. Emma Watson and her co-stars have every right to embrace gender identity ideology. Such beliefs are legally protected, and I wouldn't want to see any of them threatened with loss of work or violence or death because of them. However, Emma and Dan Radcliffe in particular, who of course played Harry Potter, have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them a particular right, nay, obligation, to criticize me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. Until quite recently, I hadn't managed to throw off the memory of children who needed to be gently coaxed through their dialogue in a big scary film studio. For the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma specifically, most notably on the witch trials of J.K. Rowling. Ironically, I told the producers that I didn't want her to be hounded as a result of anything I said. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's All Witches speech, which is the BAFTA clip I played at the start of the video. And in truth, that was a turning point for me, but it had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself. Emma asked someone to pass on a handwritten note from her to me, which contained the single sentence, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through." In parentheses, Rowling says she has my phone number. So, in other words, she could have called her instead of passing her this note like she was in freaking elementary school. But I digress. This was back when the death, rape, and torture threats against me were at their peak, at a time when my personal security measures had to be tightened considerably, and I was constantly worried for my family's safety. Emma had just publicly poured more petrol on the flame, yet thought a one-line expression of concern from her would reassure me of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. Wow, that's a leftist in a nutshell. They are totally delusional. He ain't lying. Like other people who've never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door.
Big facts. It could change your life.
Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed-sex changing room at a council-run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state-run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service? To find herself sharing a prison cell with a male rapist who's identified into the woman's prison? The greatest irony here is that had Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed full-throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was. She ain't wrong either.
You got that right.
I might never have been this honest. That was a great comment. Very well-worded comment. Would you expect any less from a professional author of Rowling's caliber? She eviscerated Emma. I bet she'll keep her mouth shut. And Daniel Radcliffe, I bet that boy shut up too. Loser, loser, loser. Winner. I wasn't a multi-millionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what the trashing of women's rights in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated means to women and girls without her privileges. Ooh, that's a nice crisp quote From Rowling, the blistering remarks came just days after Watson declared on Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast that she still treasured the renowned British author, despite coming out to attack Rowling over a controversial anti-trans essay she penned back in 2020. Rowling has long said she would never forgive Watson, as well as co-star Daniel Radcliffe, for their criticism, which the author said led to death, rape, and torture threats at the time, and they didn't give a shit about. Those once cute little innocent kids that will grow up to backstab her one day. Adults can expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love, as though the friend was in fact their mother. Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public, but I have the same right, and I finally decided to exercise it. The Post reached out to Watson's rep for comment, but they said, fuck you, no comment.
You smartass.
So kiddies, we reached the end of this article, but as we normally do when we have the opportunity, we go over a few readers' comments. First up is by Norman Bates, who likes to masturbate.
Daddy, chill.
Not a huge fan of Harry Potter, but am definitely a huge fan of J.K., her writing, her intelligence, and her courage. I'd much rather celebrate who she is than her connection to so-called famous people anyway. That's a reply, but it has nothing to do with this subject. Just goes on to talk about J.K. Rowling's other novels not connected to Harry Potter and how good they are. So next up is from Vox Populi, who says, I read J.K.'s post on X this morning, and I almost stood up and applauded right there in my kitchen. She handled all the criticism and attacks with the utmost grace and, in many cases, a very sharp wit. But this one was different. Emma and the rest of the young Harry Potter actors owed their careers to Rowling, and for them to vilify her over and over was a disgrace. I'm glad she finally chose to respond. Hell yeah, I agree with you, Vox. Epstein's mother replies, people like Rowling, who are truly self-made from poverty, tend to, I think, have a very pragmatic take on life, which I think would be pretty common or normal. She hasn't let her wealth destroy who she was and where she came from. Instead, she leans into it. She has every right to be a proud woman. She doesn't demand that you listen to her, but she has earned your respect. No virtue signaling from this woman. I like her. And I like your comment, Epstein's mother. Next up from Boss Man. I'm a middle-aged man, so am I, who has never had any interest in the Harry Potter franchise, unlike me. Barely knew a thing about J.K. Rowling until recently. After following her on Twitter, I'm not sure what impressed me more, the bravery and conviction she displays when she goes out to war, or the style she uses to beautifully express it in just words instead of a cleaver. I agree with you, boss man. Mrs. Mom replies, last but not least, Mrs. Mom replies, I read her 2012 adult fiction, The Casual Vacancy. If you want to enjoy more of her words, it's a slow start getting you set up, and then wow! I laughed, I cried, and popped some tranquilizer. Well folks, that's the end of this video. If you agree with J.K. Rowling, or if you side with Emma Watson, or if you agree with the reader comments, then please hit the like button with your magic wand.
Give it a wave.
And subscribe if you haven't already done so, and for shame if you haven't.
Shame! Shame!
Now hit that notification bell so that you'll always be forewarned whenever I drop another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.
I think it's why I was so obsessed with the musical Hamilton and why so many people have.